Morning, Aggies and Buckeyes. Today is Thursday, May 21st, and this is your last lesson for this week. So today we're going to be talking about homophones. Let's get to your goal. Remember, your goal is what you're going to be able to accomplish at the end of the lesson. And at the end of the lesson, you're going to be able to use context clues to figure out the meaning of a word or a phrase. So let's talk next about what exactly is a homophone. Well, homophones are words that sound alike, but they're spelled differently and they have different meanings. So there's a huge difference between homophones and homographs. So don't get confused with a few weeks ago when we talked about homographs. We're talking about homophones today. And again, homophones are words, they sound alike, but they have different spellings and different meanings. Now, here's your weekly hint for homophones. You're going to pay close attention to the context clues that surround a homophone to determine the meaning. Okay, so same thing that we did for homographs, except now we're talking about homophones. And you're going to use what you already know about words and their meanings, because some of you are going to see these homophones and you're going to go, oh, I know what that already means. So you may not have to use the context. But if you don't know what the homophones mean, then you also want to use the context to make sure you're correct. So let me show you a couple examples of some homophones, and I want you to use what you already know to tell me the meaning. So here's a couple examples. Now, we call them homophone pairs or partners, and in this first one right here, you're going to see the homophone pairs there, and there. Now you're probably thinking, okay, Miss Valadez, all of those sound the same. So if you are listening to me, you're probably thinking you're saying the same word, but I'm really not, because remember, homophones, they sound alike, but they're spelled differently and they have different meanings. So when you look at the screen, you can see that these are the words that I'm saying. There, and there. Now let's think about what we already know about this there. T-H-E-R-E. What do you know about that word? What's the meaning to that there? T-H-E-R-E. Hit the pause button if you need to think about it for a few minutes. Hit the play button when you're ready. Now, when we're talking about there, that is spelled T-H-E-R-E, we're talking about a place or direction, right? If I say, go put the books over there, I'm telling you to put the books in a certain place or a direction, okay? Now, if I'm talking about this there, T-H-E-I-R, you're going to need a sentence also to help you figure it out. T-H-E-I-R. What is the meaning of that one? Now, if you don't know the meaning of T-H-E-I-R, you don't know the meaning of that there, then that's when you want to use the sentence and the context clues. So let me give you an example of a sentence that would help you figure out T-H-E-I-R. That is, all right, so sorry about that. Here is your sentence. Mr. and Mrs. Brown have a baby. Sean is their baby. So in that sentence and using those context clues, what's the meaning of that there? The T-H-E-I-R. We're talking about Mr. and Mrs. Brown and their baby. That's right. There in that sentence means something or someone belongs to a person. So it belongs to a person, maybe a place, something like that. Okay, but that there, that's like, that belongs to somebody or something. Now there's also the other there, and it's T-H-E-R-E. E-Y apostrophe R-E. Now, that apostrophe, if you remember, replaces a letter. What is that there? What does that one mean? You're right. That one means they are. They are going to the store, or they're going to the store. That's telling you they are going to the store. So you and I used both context and what we already know, especially for this there, because you and I know that this apostrophe replaces a letter. And we know the letter that's replaced is an A. So you can use your prior knowledge and you can use context clues to determine the meaning of homophones. Okay, so remember, one more time, homophones are words that sound alike, right? All of these words right here, they sounded alike, but they have different meanings, right? All three different meanings, and they're all spelled differently. Now, let's take a look at another example of homophone pairs, and we're going to use what we already know and maybe some context clues. So our next homophone pair is heard and heard. Now, think, have you ever heard these homophones before? Have you ever seen them? Hopefully the answer to those questions are a yes, heard and heard. Now, to determine the meaning of them, maybe you already know what H-E-A-R-D means. Maybe you already know what H-E-R-D means. But for this one, I'm going to take you back to the story that we've been reading this week, and we're going to figure out the meaning of this heard. By September of 1754, 12-year-old Lucius Jackson and his family had been living at Fort Mose in St. Augustine, Florida for a year. They were part of a group who had escaped from a plantation in South Carolina. They had heard that Fort Mose was a place of refuge for runaways. So here is that word heard. Here's the homophone. Now, you and I already know that heard can mean like you hear something, right? People are talking, so you would have heard them. That's the past tense. And you also know that a herd is a group of animals that flock together or go together. So in this context, what does herd mean? Would it mean like the one you hear with your ear? Or would it be a group of animals? What do you guys think? Now, you can also say to yourself, okay, if I think that this heard means to listen, could you plug that in? They had listened, heard with their ears that Fort Mose was a place of refuge for runaways. Or would it be a group of animals? What do you guys think? Hit the pause button if you need a couple minutes to think about it. While you do that, I'm going to head back to our chart so we can get ready to put in our answers. So hopefully you've had enough time to decide which herd H-E-A-R-D is. And yes, you are correct. If you heard something, that means someone may have been talking and you understood, you heard it with your ear. So if you heard something, that means that you used your ear, right? So you may have overheard someone speaking, you heard it with your ear. So you used your ear to hear. Now, a herd, H-E-R-D, is a group of animals. So for that context and what we read in the story, also get it, what you heard in the story, you used your ear, which is the same thing that Lucius and his family did. They had heard, so someone was speaking and they heard with their ear that going to Fort Mose was a place of refuge, right? It wasn't a place where you're going to find a group of animals. So that's the difference between H-E-A-R-D and H-E-R-D. Okay, so let's get into your activity that you're going to practice. You're going to head over to Google Classroom and you're going to complete the assignment that's labeled Unit 6, Week 2, Homophones. Now, just as a reminder, remember, homophones are words that sound the same, but they have different meanings and different spellings. Let's take a look at your assignment. Okay, so here is the assignment that you're going to find in Google Classroom. It's Unit 6, Week 2, Homophones. Directions: complete the chart by filling in the homophone's meaning based on the context. So here is the homophone. Maybe you already know what this new means. K-N-E-W. However, I want you to read the context, which is this passage, and then type in the meaning. You're going to scroll down because you're also going to find 2 more homophones and 2 passages that you're going to read to determine the meaning. Don't forget, the meaning is going to go over here in these columns. Maybe you already know what this week means, but please make sure you go in and you read the context to figure out the true meaning. All right, head over to Google Classroom now, find your activity that's labeled Unit 6, Week 2, Homophones, and you're going to complete it. And I will talk to you next Tuesday with our next lesson. All right, bye guys.